Hey everyone, and welcome to our explainer on Osho's The Perfect Way. Now, this is a guide for, well, any of us who've ever felt like we're just going through the motions, you know? That feeling of quiet desperation, wondering, is this all there is? Osho's answer is a big, resounding yes, there is something more. And the path he lays out is a pretty radical shift from a life that feels meaningless to one that's just full of bliss. So Osho kicks things off with a pretty provocative idea. Just think about your days so far. All the planning, the worrying, replaying conversations in your head. He argues that none of that is actually reality. It's just the nonstop chatter of thoughts inside our own minds. Our entire world, he says, is built from this inner monologue. And the very first step toward a different way of living is to just recognize that something else, something quieter and more real, even exists beyond all that noise. So if we're trapped in this world of thoughts, what does that actually feel like? Well, Osho doesn't pull any punches. He paints a really stark picture of our modern condition, and he describes it as a state of deep inner darkness. These metaphors are just so powerful because we get them instantly, don't we? A house where the lamp has gone out. That's not just about being in the dark. It's about a spiritual kind of emptiness, a home that's lost its soul. And a boat lost on the high seas? I mean, that is the perfect image for feeling totally adrift in life, with absolutely no sense of direction or purpose. Wow, this slide really just lays it all out there. On the left, you've got how life can so often feel meaningless, a total drag, like we're just waiting for the end. But then look at the right. That's our true potential. A life that isn't boring, but is filled with bliss. A life overflowing with meaning. Now that gap between the two looks huge, right? But Osho's entire point is that we can absolutely close that gap. Okay, so how do we bridge that gap? This is where Osho stops diagnosing the problem and starts extending an invitation. It's really a call to action, to move out of that darkness and step toward a completely new kind of consciousness. I just love how direct this is. It's not some complicated philosophical idea. It's a personal wake-up call. And the suggestion here is pretty startling. What if the life we think of as normal is really just a kind of sleepwalking, a dream that we've totally mistaken for reality? Osho is basically offering to be our alarm clock. And here is the absolute key insight. We don't need to go out and invent some brand new, complicated solution. This path from darkness to light, it isn't new at all. It's eternal. It has always been right here. The problem, Osho says, is that we've simply had our backs turned to it this whole time. So the whole spiritual journey, then, isn't about building something from scratch. It's just about having the courage to finally turn around. But to even begin to turn around, we first need to change the very way we take in the world. And it starts not with thinking, but with listening, and in a very, very specific way. This comparison is just fascinating. Osho literally calls the head, our intellect, stone deaf. Think about that for a second. It's so busy arguing and analyzing and getting its own opinion ready that it can't actually hear anything new. Its words are like plastic flowers. They look the part, sure, but they have no life, no fragrance. The heart, on the other hand, that's the true organ of listening. It doesn't listen with logic. It listens with love, with openness. And when it speaks, the words are real. They're alive. They have the fragrance of fresh flowers. This is what he calls right hearing, and it is not passive at all. It's an active, watchful silence. Can you even imagine that? Actually listening to someone without, in the back of your mind, planning your rebuttal while they're still talking? To just listen. That's the space. That's the silence where true understanding can finally get through without being all twisted up by our own inner chaos. In this metaphor just makes it crystal clear. A choppy lake, with all the ripples, it distorts every reflection into a jumbled mess. But when that water is perfectly calm and still, it reflects the moon and the stars perfectly. Our mind, Osho is saying, is exactly like that lake. When it's all agitated by constant thoughts, it can only show us a distorted version of reality. But when we find that inner silence, it can finally reflect the truth, just as it is. Okay, so we understand the problem of inner darkness, and we get the prerequisite of listening with the heart. Now we get to the really practical stuff. How do we actually do this? Osho distills the entire journey down into 3 fundamental rules. This is it. This is the practical core of the entire teaching. So first, live in the present. I mean, so much of our energy is just wasted replaying the past or stressing about the future. This rule is a call to come back to the only thing that's actually real, this moment, right now. Second, live naturally. Think about all the different masks we wear, our professional self, our family self, our social media self. This is about dropping the act, shedding that phony cloak of social roles, and just letting your authentic, original self come out. And third, live alone. Now, this one is really profound. It's not just about being physically by yourself. It's about quieting that inner crowd, the crowd of other people's opinions and our own chaotic thoughts, so you can finally discover who you are when all that noise is gone. So if you follow this path, if you learn to listen with your heart and you live by these 3 rules, what happens? What's the result? Well, the transformation that Osho promises it's nothing short of total. This is how Osho sees us in our ordinary state. When our eyes are closed to reality, when we're trapped in the maze of our own minds, we're like beggars. We are constantly at the mercy of our passing thoughts, our shifting moods, whatever's happening around us. We feel powerless, just kind of hoping for a handout from life. But when you open your eyes, when you awaken to the present moment, to your true, authentic self, the entire dynamic flips. You become an emperor, not of some kingdom out there in the world, but the absolute ruler of your own inner world. You are no longer a victim being tossed around by life. You are the calm, centered master of your own consciousness. And really, this quote just ties it all together so beautifully. That feeling of being a beggar is just a bad dream. It's not who you really are. The invitation here is to wake up from that dream and to claim the inner sovereignty that was yours all along. It's a total transformation, from powerlessness to power, from darkness into light. You see, Osho frames his whole teaching not as a set of rules, but as an invitation, and he ends with this very direct question. And that's where we'll end this explainer too. Because this isn't an intellectual puzzle to be solved, it's a personal journey to be taken. After seeing the map he's laid out, the only question left is the one right there on the screen. Are you ready?